When was that you went? What year?
11. It was, this is funny, transitioning into this whole SNL audition thing.
You're doing my work for me.
Yeah, I was in Scotland when I found out that I got the screen test for SNL.
Oh, so, no way.
Yeah, so I was doing the show, and I got I kept getting, maybe we'll get into more detail about how this all happened, but I kept getting these emails. This was back before you could like text, like from different countries.
Right. Yeah, there was no WhatsApp or whatever.
Right. So I was like just checking my email a lot on my phone, and my manager just like had sent all of these emails like in all caps.
Yeah.
Call me.
Yeah.
Call me. So,
oh my God.
Well, I go into, so I knew I had sent the tape in, and I was like, okay, I wonder if this is what I think it is, but I don't want to hope. So I borrowed my friend's phone who could call the States.
Mm-hmm.
I called him. He's like, what day are you coming back from Scotland?
Right.
I was like, September 4th. He's like, okay, on September 7th, you're screen testing for SNL.
Oh, man.
Oh my God. So I was like in a bedroom in this flat that we had rented, and my wife was out there and some of my best friends, and I got off the phone. And I was like, I just got to be like, that's
it's happening. We're doing it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So September 7th, will you, or was there anyone that you auditioned with that you were alongside?
Nobody from that group. I think it was only about 14 people that tested that year.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody got onto the show.
Okay.
Well, actually, you probably would know better than I would, because if you look at whoever was there at the beginning of the 2011 season,
mm-hmm.
is who would
kept it stagnant.
Yeah, but I heard that like nobody did it.
Yeah, I know that I can't think of the specific years that there wasn't anyone new that joined, but it's not crazy uncommon, and I think that sounds about right for the that's it is obviously not an exact science or anything, but it's interesting that there's even a whisper of there were 14 screen tests this year total.
Yeah,
that thanks to you, probably the most realistic number of like, all right, what's the total? Like, there have been times where I was like, okay, is this going to be 11,000 people? Like, is it going to be just a crazy amount? But man, 14 in 1 year.
Yeah. Now there's differences, and I mean, you can decide like what constitutes it. But I know that they've done things like SNL has done things like where they'll put up a showcase in LA.
Yep.
And then they see talent all over the city. And I know that what it was for me was like, no, we're putting you on a plane. You're going to Studio 8H, and you're gonna do your thing that we've all like seen people do.
Right.
And I think only 3 or 4 of us were actually from LA.
Okay.
Well, it's funny. I knew 2 people. 2 of like my own friends were there that year doing
also testing as well.
Yes.
Okay.
And then another guy who ended up becoming a really good friend that only years later did we both learn that we were there the same day.
Oh, no kidding.
So that's really funny. We put it together.
Yeah. Did they keep you like, were you all there at the same time, but they were like, all right, we got Bruce in this room. We got everyone else over here.
Yes. We were in, we all had different call times throughout the course of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of my friends had to be there at 3. I believe I didn't have to be there till about 5 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't see everybody because everybody had their own sort of dressing room or green room. I think we were in the dressing rooms of like the cast members.
Yeah.
And so the room I was in, I was told at one point was Rosie O'Donnell's like green room when she had her show, Rosie on NBC or whatever.
Right.
So
I didn't know she was in that studio.
I didn't. I would. Why would she be in the SNL? But that definitely was told to me.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you don't forget Rosie.
Yeah. So I, we didn't see each other. All the people who were testing, like it was very, we were by ourselves and we were all in our own zones. And but then but my friends that I knew who had also flown from LA were there. So I went and hung out with them I think maybe after I was done, I went and
Okay.
hung out there in their room. And then I met another girl who was there from UCB in New York, and I would never in a million years remember who that was.
You're
But
right.
it's a surreal situation, as I'm sure you can imagine.
Oh my God. I mean, it's been 12 months of me just kind of having this to read into. And even now, here into just the specifics of you talking about it, you might as well be in, Middle Earth. It's just, it's a mythical, it's like,
It's crazy.
what do you do?
It's crazy. It seems so weird that actually happened to
Right.
me. Yeah.
So what did you do? Did you have, we can jump in as little as you want. It's up to you.
Yeah. For my tape, like for what did I do on that? Yeah. I pretty much stuck to the tape. So I had been in Groundlings, which is one of the top like comedy places.
I was emailing their head of marketing today for something related to this. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I want to bring you in on it probably actually, but
okay. Yeah. So anyway, so I was in Sunday Company there, and I had known that SNL had been there to scout our shows, because that's what they do. They come see the Sunday Company and they see who they like and all that. The Sunday Company, the group before me, I think like 7 of them ended up testing for SNL.
Was Kate McKinnon in that one? Or I'm mixing her up?
She was not involved in Groundlings.
No.
But I did see her. I saw her perform before she got onto SNL. It was hilarious.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh my God, it was so funny. It was so funny. She did. It was this show called the CBS Diversity Showcase, and she was in that, and she just did this hilarious sketch. Yeah, whatever. That's another story. But yeah. So SNL had been there to see the Sunday Company. And then my manager was like, I didn't get any traction from that. So I just thought the dream was dead. Like, okay, well, they came and nothing happened from that.
Right.
So he was just like, well, put together a tape. It's like they ask for very specific guidelines. They want characters, impressions. Right. They say 5 minutes, but it's okay to go a little longer, that kind of thing. And then it was they saw my tape, and that's what actually had them ask me to come in and test.
So how did you first get in? Because one thing actually, and you would probably you'll know better about this, is I'll see, say on YouTube, it'll be someone puts up a video that's my SNL audition, and it's them recording a tape. And I know it in your case, obviously, and in the cases where you end up testing in front of everybody, it's them asking you for a tape typically, but there is an option to just sort of record it and send it and, hope they see it.
Yeah. I think the way it works is if you are with the right management, they'll invite the managers to have their clients send the tapes. So they didn't reach out to me in particular and say, hey, Bruce, like they didn't do that. It was really, they sent out the guidelines, and it was my manager who said, here's what they sent. Do you want to do this?
Yeah.
So then I said, yeah, sure. Yeah. So I think it's not one of those things where just anybody randomly does it. Like you have to sort of be in that Groundlings pipeline or be in the UCB pipeline.
Yes.
It was just a place where I was, like, in my career and in my life that enabled me to be seen,
And fun fact for you, of the 315 people on that confirmed, Groundlings, UCB, or Second City are the alma maters of 145 of them.
Right.
So very nearly half of everyone came from one of those 3 places.
Yeah.
It's just, it makes, of course it makes sense. They're the comedy Ivy Leagues.
Exactly.
It's
exactly what it feels like. And one of my friends, when we were in Sunday Company, one of my buddies in Sunday Company, I remember we were just kind of standing there hanging out backstage, and he's like, have you thought about what you're going to do for your SNL yet? And I was like, whoa, getting a little ahead of ourselves, bro. Like, what do you, I was like, I'm not even thinking that far,
Not a chance. It's mythical. It's far away. It's the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. It doesn't exist.
Yeah. You just said that. And I was like, I'm not thinking that far. And then like 6 months later, I was doing it.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing.
Yeah. like I said, it just the novelty will never wear off. Will never wear. It's just this the it's I think I forget what it was that. Oh, actually, the podcast I know that you'd been looking to start back up. It was, I want to say, Comedy Bang Bang with Scott Ackerman. They were talking about things that, like SNL, are just, they're impossible. There's no, doesn't matter how talented you are, it just doesn't happen. And the only other thing that they could compare that to was being in Star Wars. And they said that, I was like, that's perfect. It's just, it doesn't, there's no way to wrap your head around it. Just like,
yeah, that's crazy.
You're on this show. It's no, you're not. There's no way.
Cultural phenomenon.
Right.
It's like, it is. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's, have you ever sent another tape in years after that, or what happened there?
Yeah. So in the years after that, I sent one like every year for a while. Just didn't get much traction. Presumably because they're always like looking for something like specific. It's not just like, hey, come one, come all. It's like, we need this, this person's leaving, we need somebody to fill this role, you know? So I know pretty well what role I would fill. Like I approaching middle-aged, like white cis straight male, you know what I mean? So
the Jason Sudeikis of the
or like Beck Bennett's there now, and he's kind of like, I'm going to be the dad in every sketch.
So I'm gonna have a deep voice, and
so it's like, so I know what I would like do on the show. So it pretty much, and I have management now that is somewhat friendly with the people at SNL. So it's kind of like, now it's more like targeted. Like, okay, well, if there's a real opening that I could fill, then I'm gonna send a tape in.
Oh, of course.
Because I know they know me. I know they like me. So
it's like, that's the other thing that was so surprising to me, especially in the beginning, and still is now, is how many people, including people that got on the show, auditioned like 3 times.
Oh yeah, Taran Killam got it on his third time in a row.
Really, and he was there for like 7 years. Yes. Oh my God. It's just, I guess it's like in my head, it's like interviewing for a job. It's not like, I'll try it again next year. It's just, I got to work there. Yeah. But it's such a bizarre way to go around. And there's also people that will get selected that when it first happens, at least me knowing absolutely nothing, will be like, why would you ever, what are they going to do? The person I'm thinking of, and this is with the utmost respect, I love him, I think he's hysterical, Pete Davidson. When he first joined, I was like, this doesn't make sense. And then, here we are some amount of years later, he's hysterical. He's incredibly famous. He's starred in movies. He's got the it factor that someone like Lauren sees that I don't.
I totally agree with you. And he's like young and cool, like in a way that I'm so not.
He was like 17. When he
and he's just like, he almost brought this energy of like, I don't know why I'm here. I don't know why. No. And so, and it's so funny because like that you mentioned that the last few episodes I've watched, like I've seen a few this season, and he's one of my favorites. Like,
he's great.
I love him. And at first I was sort of like, same thing. Like, wow, like you just cast this boy, this child.
Yeah. He couldn't even buy cigarettes. He can't drink for 4 years. He can't buy cigarettes for 1.
So I think the Ariana Grande stuff like really cracked me up when his engagement fell apart, and he just came out there and was just like, yeah, I'm living with my mom.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the being so intensely in the limelight, like being on SNL, is when there's a scandal or something happens, you're right back there every week. Typically. There's no, we're taking a pause from the show. We're not filming it right now. It's like, you got to come back.
Yeah. It's so self-deprecating. Like even when they were engaged, it's just like, I don't know why she's engaged to me.
Yeah. He's like, I just thank her all the time for this wonderful apartment that we live in. Yeah. Do you speak with anyone that is currently on the show, or in touch with anyone or people that you had worked with?
I know Mikey Day.
Okay.
Because he was in Groundlings.
Of course.
when I was in Sunday Company, and I actually took his fish off of him when he moved to New York permanently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he has his wife. I'm actually closer to his wife,
Mhm.
and to be fair, I don't actually even know if they're like by law married.
Yeah.
But they're partnered
Right.
up. They've got a little boy who's about the same age as my daughter,
Mhm.
and so they stayed in LA while he was kind of like flying back and forth to New York.
Right.
Eventually they said, let's make the final move. And I went over to their house and took their goldfish. So, and then I had their goldfish for a year.
That's, you gotta love things like that. There's been just every time I talk to somebody, there's like somebody like Mikey Day having a goldfish, or it'll be, I had to help Michael Che move that weekend, and
Yeah.
he's kind of very the thing that I will never not be able to see him, Mikey Day specifically. He was in a lot of people have read about it. He was in this David Blaine parody sketch.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, I know those really well.
Like 13 years ago. Or it might not be 13, but it's had to be 10. And when I saw him get cast in the show, I was like, is that the guy from the David Blaine sketch? Yeah. And he's amazing. He's absolutely hysterical.
Genius. And even when we were in Groundlings, like if you had said to me, like, who of these people needs to write for SNL, you'd be like, Mike, right? Because he's perfect. He's just like this bottomless well of good ideas. Everything he writes is so funny, and it's the ability to just continue to write funny stuff is something that I don't think I've seen anybody else do.
There's a certain, I guess, attitude that has to come with it. Did you ever like, would you write for the show if they say like John Mulaney auditioned and he became a writer, for example?
Right. Mikey Day was a writer for like 3 or 4 years.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Before he was cast. So my strong suit is performing.
Yeah.
So like if I just don't see a point in me writing and not performing. Because I'm better at performing. Like that's just the way it is.
I could not agree with you more. It's if I remember putting something together, thinking about it, well, this is for me. This is I'm not going to give this to somebody else.
Yeah, and I mean, and Mikey is great at both, but I think like his genius is his writing. His genius is writing.
Yeah.
And I mean, even when I was in Sunday Company, that's intense. You have to write your own sketches. You have to create your own stuff.
Right.
So you're writing 6 days a week, and then you're performing on Sundays, and your show is on Sundays, and every week it's a new sketch show. It's very SNL like.
Yeah, it was just because it's Sunday Night Live.
It is, and we had our pitches on Wednesday night, and they went into 1, 2 a.m. It was brutal.
Yeah.
And it was always like I just remember thinking like my favorite day of the week is Sunday because that's the day you actually get up on stage and go in front of the audience.
All the stuff all the hell you've been putting yourself through all week is finally worth it.
The stress of writing like that's a stress that I once you're on the stage, that's where.
Yeah, that's